This is an introduction to the Big House Little House mountain trip we're going on this weekend. It's a picture. I'm showing a picture right now of a 2015 visit to the mountain. I hope we'll have something similar to that this weekend. Here's an overview of the trip itself. It begins in the parking lot and moves up the mountain road for about 2 miles. Takes about an hour. The road itself is a Jeep road, I guess is the best way to put it. You'll find that it's got markers shown here in a little red circle that shows the trail, because this is a private road in some ways that we'll be using. So we'll have to stay on the road itself and not venture too much off to the side. When we get to the top, we'll be camping at what's called the Saddle. This is an area that's between Little House and Big House Mountains themselves. We'll be probably the first persons to camp there this season. And this is a picture of the campsite that I took on Tuesday this week. Plenty of room for tents as well as hammocks. We'll also be going to the spring, what I'm showing here in a little arrow. It's about 150 yards down that through the woods there. The blue blazes are easy to find. First thing I do when we get up there Tuesday is going to be bushwhack that, so it's a little easier to follow, and try to see what we can do to get the spring flow accessible to us. It's a pretty good flow right now. There are two hikes on this trip. The first is the Little House up this first steep hill, and then we'll be walking the length of Little House Mountain. The next picture you'll see is a picture taken in 2015 from the end of Little House Mountain. I think we'll have something like that waiting for us when we get up there. The second hike is Big House. It's about a mile long, fairly straight up this Jeep road to the top of Big House Mountain. And here's a picture of what you'll find at the end of Big House, looking into West Virginia. That's about all I have for this introduction, but let's step back to the spring for a minute. That spring is a seasonal spring, but its flow rate when I was there Tuesday was about a gallon and a half a minute, so that's sufficient for our needs this trip. What we'll have to do, though, is I mentioned I'll bushwhack the trail through the grass and everything over to the site of the spring, and then figure out how best to get the water from the spring. They have a spring house and a pipe that leads from that spring, and the pipe was partially plugged. So I think we're going to have to carry a little small plastic bottle or something like that with each of us to use as a dipper, and step down to the edge of the spring carrying another container, and then just dip the water as it comes out of the spring in. I think that's all I've got right now. I'm going to show you some pictures as you move up the trail that I took on Tuesday that gives you again a flavor of what we're getting into. These are just snapshots, no particular order. The trail is what you see it, and it took me about an hour walking up there on Tuesday. And this is one of the views on the way up, which I find pretty striking, looking back towards Lexington. When you get to the top, then they've got placards that were put up to explain the Little House Mountain Trail, its history, and the layout of the area. I've shown you this picture a minute ago around the campsite. There's a fire pit right there that we can use, and I think the shade and everything, it's a good place to camp. This is another view of the camping area. You can see, the grass is there. We'll put a camp on top of the grass. I think we'll be fine. This is another view of the campsite area. That's the Jeep road leading down off the mountain. We probably won't go that direction. I'm just showing you the landscape more than anything else. There is a shelter near the camping area. You can see my backpack sitting on that. That could be used for people who want to camp out or weather shelter. You can see down at the bottom what looks like a dog. Well, that was my buddy Ben who came. He went along with me. And here's his picture. He was looking for a treat. The actual spring is coming up again. I've spoken to you a bit about that. We need water when we get there. I think this spring will be sufficient for us, but it's not going to be like tap water out of the sink. It'll take a little effort to go over and get to the spring, and then step down. And I personally would not want to go more than once a day to get water, but it's there and it's fresh, and we've used it in the past. And here are two pictures we've seen in a minute. These views are really what a lot of the trip's all about. This one on Little House Mountain is pretty striking. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's beautiful up there. And the one on Big House is equally pretty. This would be a beautiful site for sunsets. You're looking pretty much west here. So let's hope for reasonably good weather, and let's see everybody on Saturday.